This is a training video on the DUPLO DSF-2000 sheet feeding system. We're going to begin our training on the manual options. The first manual option you'll notice is the blow and sheet separator controls. The higher you go, the more air blast you get, the lower the less. This all comes from the manifold on the inside. This is your sheet separator. The lower you go, the more sheet separation you'll get. This one has almost new sheet separator, so it doesn't go down that far. You would have to force it, which is not a good idea. You can go up higher and separate it more for certain stocks. Different thicknesses, different types of stock. The main thing we're going to set it at is 4. It works almost perfectly with all of them right now. As time goes on, that could change. Your next control is the pile height sensor. Depending on your stock and whether you're having static issues or not, you may have to adjust this up. This is fully up, this is fully down. I set it around the middle. You may have to adjust slightly for the stock or if you're having a static issue or so on. It's just going to allow more air in between the sheets and the manifold to be fed. That's all your manual adjustments you have. The rest of these are all going to... sorry, I forgot about this. This is your side guide for the pile. All you want to do is move it over to it just barely touches. You do not want to force it up against it. It'll pinch the sheets in there. And then you do, of course, have this tab in the back here, which has to be moved to the back of the paper stack. The bottom bin is almost exactly the same. It just doesn't have this piece and this piece. It uses these small paper guides right here as a replacement for those. All the bottom is for is cover stock. It will not feed other sheets. I mean, you could use any other stock you want, but it's only for a cover. You could use it in a slip sheet application if you were stacking, but other than that, it's only for covers. The rest of this is all controlled by the control panel here. The DSF-2000 has complete control of the system. It controls the booklet maker, it controls the trimmer, it controls the sheet feeder, it controls everything. Size change, everything gets done from here. The first thing you'll notice is at a ready position right now, number of the job, 50 in the set, 8 sheets per set. So we're going to start off, we're going to change the, or I'm going to show you how to change if you were going to change from a booklet to a corner stitch or a side stitch. We'll start there, staple fold mode. Side stitch will be 2 stitches on the side of the booklet. Corner stitch will be 1 stitch on the side of the booklet. You will have to manually disengage the stitch head, but it will allow it not to have the second stitch. The staple heads on this system, if they miss a staple, the system knows it. So if you're only doing one side, you have to set it to corner instead of side, so that it only does 1 stitch, and it doesn't give you an error code for only having 1 staple. Right now we're going to do booklet though, and then we're going to show you also you could do trimming mode. You can either trim or not trim. Through would just be passed through. It'll just go through the trimmer. It won't do anything else. Trimming, it will cut it in the trimmer. B sheet is your cover. We're going to feed a cover now, so yes, you have options on this. Either no B sheet, no cover, yes cover, or alternate. Again, of course, that would be for slip sheets on a stacker. Doesn't pertain to this system. So we're going to set for yes. End mark set can only be used if you have a program into your digital and it's set up the way DUPLO says to with DUPLO's ink. Other than that, it doesn't pertain to you. Size detect on. This is going to detect the size of the paper. The rest of the features do not pertain to this booklet maker. Custom size. You have your custom size programmed here. They can be changed. All you have to do is input, and then you can change your length, or you can change your width. Inverter mode does not pertain to this system. Trays up and down, literally what it says. The tray will go up, the tray will go down. If I enter in here, I can raise or lower using my stop and start buttons. Other settings. Tone, off or on. If you don't want to hear this beep anymore, turn it off. I like to hear it beep so I know I'm properly setting this. LCD setting is just how bright this screen is. If I was to change it right now, you wouldn't see it on your screen. Millimeter inch setting, again, literally what it says. It's millimeters or inches. That's the only thing it's going to do. Is either it's going to set in a metric or it's going to set in English, SAE or Standard American English. Bead setting, 30 sets per minute, 100 sheets per minute. I could change that. 30 is going to be the maximum with this current setup. And 100 is going to be the maximum. No, sorry, 130 is going to be the maximum sheets fed per minute. D-feed sensor or doubles detect sensor. I can turn it off or on. Both trays, it also sets for thickness. I like to leave them on auto thickness. It finds its own thickness, works out properly. Tray level, that's how much of a difference is going to matter between when it calls it a double and when it doesn't. Especially on digital, this is really going to matter. If you were to set this down to the minimum, which is 17, any slight variance between what it read as the master and what it's reading now is going to automatically call it a double or a miss. If you set it at 50, it gives it a much bigger window before it calls it a double or a miss. A-tray position, that's where it reads it based upon the front of the tail versus the end. All the way from 120 millimeters from the start to 170 millimeters from the start. I typically leave them around 150. That's for reading the doubles detect. You use it if you're having a problem with, say, there's a heavy bar across the front here. If you needed to get away from that heavy bar, print you did, or if you needed to get into it because you're having a problem feeding or reading doubles, you can use that to adjust back and forth there. It's all going to be based upon what you're doing a lot of the time. B tray is exactly the same as well. Everything on B you have on A as well, and all your settings. Your next is blower power. That's literally how strong the blower is. You can change if you need to. If I put it on 1, it's at its weakest. If I put it on 3, it's at its strongest. Driving time is how long the clutch stays activated. You'll find you don't need to have it activated that long at all. On A, I have it set on 2 of a possible 6. The longer you have this activated, the more likely you're going to pull doubles. Sometimes if you go all the way up to 6, you'll pull 2 to 3 sheets at a time. 2 seems to work properly on A. On B, we usually set it a little higher because you got a heavier cover and it needs a little more driving time to get the cover out. Count up and down, exactly what it says. Count's either going to start from 100 and go down or start from 1 and go up to 100. And then that concludes all the settings that are relevant to this. Once you've got to the point where you've got everything set up, you're sure you're right on your setup, the first thing you're going to do is push and hold the start button till you hear that second beep. Now I'm going to calibrate the system. Takes a little bit to get going. Nothing wrong, this is a very After you're done, pull your sheets out. Make sure everything's in order. Make sure you didn't have any errors on the system. And then it's declared a complete set. I'm going to go ahead and lower this down a little bit so you can see this running.